to the American Medical Society, obesity is considered a chronic disease here in the US. In fact, 35% of Americans are considered to be obese. But I don't need medical experts and health organizations to tell me this. When I walk in public here in the US, I see so many overweight and obese people, and many of these are our kids. Interestingly, when I go to Japan, I rarely see overweight kids. What I see are young people who are eating well and exercising more adequately. While it certainly is the case that childhood obesity is on the rise globally, and that both Japan and America are no exception, when I compare these two countries, I see a huge disparity in cultural expectations and norms that leads to two very different outcomes. One is a country where the obesity rate is as low as 3.6%, and the other as high as 30%. Hi, my name is Erin Cross. I'm a dual citizen of Japan and United States, and my unique experiences of having been able to adequately experience both Japanese and American educational system has informed this speech, and it has also allowed me to analyze and judge American and Japanese values and how they can be interpreted alongside obesity rates in children. In my experience, I've found that children in Japan are taught the value of respect, not just for their elders, not for the people who clean their classrooms, but also respect for their own bodies. These values are considered, encouraged, and acted upon by citizens of Japan on a normal daily basis, but are most evident in the primary education system there. Some of the major school cultural differences that keep obesity in children low that are manifested in Japanese elementary schools include the amount of incidental exercise they get, Japanese school lunches, a difference in the education system, and a difference in the amount of time dedicated to certain activities. One of the largest factors that keeps Japanese children healthy is the amount of incidental exercise they get. All elementary school students walk to school with peers who live in the same neighborhood and community. For me, it took around 15 minutes to get to school, but I had a lot of friends who told me they spent close to 30 and 40 minutes walking to school. And another major factor that keeps kids healthy, and is my favorite to talk about, is lunchtime. Lunch in Japan is very different from lunch in most elementary schools here in the US. First of all, Japanese school lunches are planned by nutritionists. The food is made from scratch on campus daily, and they're served by students. The lunches are made to be balanced, mostly consisting of fish, rice, vegetables, and soup. Many of these ingredients are locally sourced or even grown on campus from students. Every student eats this lunch and everyone pays the same for it, which is $3 per meal. But the best part is that the students enjoy this lunch and they look forward to it. Now, let's look at America. The Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010 was made to provide children with a healthy, balanced meal. However, many kids are dissatisfied with these meals than they were before. And according to one New York Times article, some school lunch programs have fallen by 70%. During the Obama administration, some strides were made to improve nutrition, but these small gains were taken back in 2018 by the Trump administration. But it isn't just the healthy meals that are the big part of a Japanese child's school fare. It's also the incorporation of cleanup by students. In Japan, once lunch is over, all students are required to begin the daily after lunch cleanup. This cleanup, in my opinion, is very exercise intense, and it lasts about 20 minutes. And though each student is required to clean, there's also a motivational quality to this sanitation. Recently, I heard Dancing Queen, and something hit me. As I listened to it, I recognized the song. The instrumental version was the song that my school would play when I was cleaning up. Afterwards, students are given a lunch break, of which they go outside, they run around, and they just have some pure fun. There's also a difference in the explicit education that kids in Japan receive regarding their bodies and their health. First of all children have to take home education classes. This covers proper nutrition, growing bodies, and exercise. Second, physical exercise classes are taken much more seriously. So here in the US, PE is an opportunity for students to just sit around and chat with each other. But in Japan, all children must be able to perform certain tasks, and they're given time to prepare and practice for the tests that measure physical competence. Japanese schools also have something called undokai, or field days, which is basically a whole day event, a variety of physical activities that all students of the school participate in. Students are also encouraged to join one after-school extracurricular activity, whether it be sports or some kind of club. And most of these clubs require a year-long attendance, which means that students have to walk to school even during breaks to get to practice. And during summer breaks, students must attend morning community exercise sessions called radio taiso, or radio exercise. Lastly, while this is something that's very subtle, but I think makes a huge difference, is the lack of accessibility that elementary school students have to junk food and vending machines in Japan. To start, many parts of Japan are still rural, where there are none or very few fast food chains. And second, no Japanese elementary school has a vending machine on campus. Students don't have access to junk food and sodas. However, this isn't the same in America. According to one journal in the US National Library of Health, 13% of US elementary schools have vending machines that predominantly serve foods of minimal nutritional value. This percentage rises to 67% in middle school and 85% in high schools. One childhood obesity trend shows that obesity rates in America disproportionately affect students who live in poverty and are considered Hispanic, Black, or Indigenous American. I think one of the best things about the Japanese school system is the equality of access. When students come to school, their socioeconomic status doesn't matter. What matters is their level of overall respect. So if this respect is embodied by all children, it's necessary to give these kids equal opportunity of partaking in adequate physical activity and access to healthy, nutritious lunches that keeps them energized throughout the day. While I understand that the differences in demography, region, and culture may make it difficult to follow in these steps of Japan, some of these measures I think can work here. For example, people can petition and have their representatives know that they don't like fast food restaurants by schools or vending machines with junk food on campus. With obesity rates in our children at 18.5% and continuously on the rise, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. A healthy lifestyle should not be a privilege. It should be a right, especially for our children. Thank you.